It's another late night edition of not Cowboys Wire, of Sundry Sports for Thursday, July 16th? Yes, I suck at remembering the date. Thursday, July 16th. Not quite as late as it's been before, so that's good. Beginning, as usual, with Cowboys Wire, brought to you by USA Today. Cowboys don't have cap space to tag Prescott again in 2021. There are several factors at play why the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott are failing to reach a long-term agreement before Wednesday's deadline. Well, for one thing, is 3 or 4 years long-term? Because Dak doesn't want any more than that. Anyway, we'll just have to see what happens. Maybe Andy Dalton will be our quarterback this year. Maybe. Maybe he'll get injured. You never know. Anything can happen. I don't like that picture of him. It makes him look arrogant. He didn't used to display arrogance. I miss rookie Dak. News. Dak Prescott deadline quickly approaches. Cowboys world not standing still. Yeah, well, I don't know why they made that the second story, because the deadline obviously was yesterday. It's Wednesday morning. Yeah. Twitter reactions. Prescott's brother doesn't know how much longer he'll root for Cowboys. All day Wednesday, Cowboys Nation waited anxiously for news that disaster had somehow been averted. But the deadline for Dak Prescott to sign a new contract, blah, 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 blah. Pro Football Focus ranks Cowboys wide receiver group tops in NFL. Yeah, I read that headline before. In 2018, the Dallas Cowboys front office went into an NFL season with a receiving core that was totally undermanned. Following the release of Dez, didn't know what we were going to do. But apparently we're great now. Report, Cowboys tried at last minute to do long-term Prescott deal. What do they consider long-term? 2021 mock draft ships Cowboys tight end with Rob Gronkowski comps. I read that headline before, but I don't know what comps means. Comparisons? Erp in reverse. Wyatt Miller looking to corral chance to befriend Cowboys organization. Yeah, I thought they were being clever. Report. Cowboys not expecting Randy Gregory reinstatement, maybe, and I did click on that the other day. Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday. And yes, it's questionable whether he'll be reinstated or not. He's sort of in limbo right now. The NFL isn't doing anything, but the Cowboys are still hoping that he'll have some role, at least. Video, 4 biggest concerns for Mike McCarthy coaching the Cowboys in 2020. I saw that headline yesterday, and I'm guessing a big part of it is that he hasn't really been able to build a rapport with the players this offseason. Sucks. Madden 21 ratings, Dak Prescott slotted behind MVP quarterbacks. Yeah, I should hope he would be behind MVP quarterbacks. Why do people care so much about Madden ratings? It's not my bag. Moving on to the ESPN Daily. Good morning. Good evening. Doc Rivers was asked about the NBA hotline being used to report infractions in Orlando, Florida. His response? I turned in LeBron yesterday. I'm turning in Pop today. We're going to be the only team left when I'm done with this hotline thing. Big bubble energy. Here's your ESPN Daily. Yep. Toxic. Bad for morale. Listen up. America's first global soccer star. The soccer world was stunned last year when English Premier League powerhouse Chelsea something forked over $73 million for 20-year-old American named Christian Pulisic. It was a record amount of money paid for an American, and it immediately made the Hershey, Pennsylvania native the most visible American ever on the international soccer stage. Although Pulisic has shown unparalleled potential at every step of his career thus far, since the EPL post-quarantine restart, English Premier League, okay. Since the English Premier League post-quarantine restart, He seems to have fully hit his stride, earning 3 goals and a beautiful assist in 7 matches. On today's episode of the ESPN Daily Podcast, three goals and an assist in 7 matches in soccer is seen as fully hitting one's stride. Soccer sounds boring. On today's episode of the ESPN Daily Podcast, ESPN's Sam Borden explains why Pulisic's signing with Chelsea was so unique and how his talent combined with soccer's global reach could one day make him the biggest American sports star worldwide. Then Bill Barnwell discusses the biggest American sports star worldwide, except that there will still be people who don't give a shit about soccer. Then Bill Barnwell discusses how the deadline for Dak Prescott to sign a contract extension with the Dallas Cowboys came and went without a new deal for Dak. Things to care about. Revisiting the best Heisman websites of the 2000s. Making a Heisman website dedicated to a punter might seem like a bold move, but you gotta give props to any domain featuring the phrase, punters are people too. Especially if your punter's name is Chris Jones, because we got a good punter. Also, you have to respect the ingenuity of TurnerTheBurner.com. If you can't see the flames chasing former Northern Illinois running back Michael Turner, make sure your web browser supports Adobe Flash Player and the stylistic excellence accompanying Purdue's Painting a Masterpiece theme. You could click on a painter's bio, meet the artist, browse his statistics, paint by numbers, or track his team records, brushes with greatness for quarterback Curtis Painter. How clever. While most Heisman websites disappear from public view shortly after they appear, not entirely unlike many of the players they champion, a small group of Heisman promotional websites have withstood the test of digital time. Those that remain celebrate past college stars like West Virginia quarterback Will Grier, Missouri quarterback Drew Lock, Stanford running backs Christian McCaffrey and Bryce Love, and naturally, Oklahoma State punter Zach Sinor. Johnny Manziel's site is still up, but from the year after he won the Heisman. Here's a look at the stories behind 5 still preserved Heisman websites. You're welcome. College football, but in the spring. Peanut butter and jelly, Jim Harbaugh and khaki pants, Steve Spurrier and visors, Ed Orgeron and Go Tigers, Virginia Tech and Enter Sandman, the Rose Bowl and New Year's Day, Alabama and Tennessee playing on the 3rd Saturday in October. There are certain things that just go together, especially when it comes to the tradition-rich world of college football. But the year is 2020, and COVID-19 cares not about the sanctity of the game. I think you mean the COVID-19 overreaction cares not about the sanctity of the game. With coronavirus cases surging in states such as Arizona, California, Florida, and Texas. Oh, Florida, like where it was just discovered that the labs in Florida were not reporting any negative tests. So their positive rate was like practically 100% because they weren't reporting all of the negative tests. Yeah, that kind of surge is happening. And in Texas, where our border is still not entirely secure, so a myriad of those positive cases are coming from south of the border. And probably that's the case in Arizona and California too, as well. High-ranking athletic officials throughout the country have conceded that their pessimism has grown in regard to the likelihood of an on-time start to the season, and they have acknowledged the harsh reality that the season might not happen. The information continues to change rapidly, and there's no shortage of speculation. But with the fall season in serious jeopardy, conference commissioners and other power players have acknowledged that spring football, which once seemed like an only-if-we-have-to option, is becoming more and more conceivable. We don't have to. We don't have to. These are athletes. These are healthy, in good shape athletes, healthy, young, healthy athletes. They are not gonna die if they get it. There's a good chance they won't even have any symptoms if they get it. And once they get it, they will be a part of our herd immunity. They will have antibodies. What would a spring 2021 football season look like? It would look shitty. Mark Schlabach and Heather Dinnick, look at the hurdles besetting what could become the only viable alternative. What to expect from Tiger's return? While Joe Exotic ruled the early days of the panic, the real Tiger King is ready to reclaim his throne. I'm sorry, I'll see myself out. But in all seriousness, Woods is returning to the links today for his first tournament appearance since the Genesis Open in February. I wonder how it went. A stiff back kept him out of a host of tournaments he would normally play, such as the Arnold Palmer Invitational and the Players. When we last saw Tiger, he was posting 76 to 77 on the weekend to finish last among those who made the cut. 5 months later, he returns for his first taste of goalpost shutdown. No fans will follow his every move this week at the Memorial Tournament. Although the lack of spectators might actually be enjoyable for a guy who is accustomed to unprecedented levels of commotion, it will still be an adjustment. So what should we expect of Tiger this week? Our panel of experts weigh in with their predictions for the Memorial Tournament and beyond. Things to watch. A shirtless dude. LaMelo Ball gets creative with it. Okay, LaMelo, now you're just showing off. The youngest ball bro went between his legs, then bounced the ball up high behind his back and off the backboard for a dunk. Melo gets extra points for creativity on this one. I would also like to draw attention to the fact that it was just about a year or so ago that he couldn't dunk, and his older brothers were clowning on him. That, my friends, is growth. You love to see it. You know, something like that didn't just happen. He had to work hard for it. Isn't hard work a white thing? No, it's really not. As demonstrated by this kid. Overheard. It's so disheartening to see people from groups that have been violently marginalized do the same thing to others without realizing that perpetuating this kind of bad logic is what perpetuates racism. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar addressing the lack of outrage against anti-Semitism. It's so disheartening to see people from groups that have been violently marginalized do the same thing to others without realizing that perpetuating this kind of bad logic is what perpetuates racism. So he's talking to black people, probably, about Jews and anti-Semitism. Okay. Good stuff. That's good. Remember when? You know, it's also been being done to white people now. Also. Perpetuating this kind of bad logic. Also against white people, as in the case of Nick Cannon, who says that white people are savages because we have less melanin. Oh yes, I just betrayed the fact that I'm white. Yes, I am white. Although I don't think of it that way. I like to think of it as peachy keen. Remember when? On this date in 1941, Joe DiMaggio got a hit in his 56th straight game, establishing a record no player has come close to breaking. According to scientist Stephen Jay Gould, DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak is the greatest accomplishment in the history of baseball, if not all modern sports. Wow. Gould argued that, statistically, it was so remarkable that it should never have happened. It's mostly a matter of luck, DiMaggio said at the time. You have to get lucky breaks to run up a long consecutive batting streak, and I got plenty of them. Here's hoping he was hitting up the casinos between games. Ah ha ha ha. No, because if he'd been doing that, his luck would have been spent on non-baseball pursuits. Until next time, remember, Turner the Burner is an elite Heisman slogan. I would like to think that if I were up for such an esteemed award, my slogan would be something along the lines of Tory the Story or Blazin' Baron. I don't know, just spitballing here. This has been your ESPN Daily for Thursday, July 16th, 2020. And that's it for ESPN. Thank you, ESPN. Not that one. Yahoo Sports. Read and react. Last and possibly least. Trending. Mike Tyson's going to fight a shark. It's 2020. This makes perfect sense. That sounds like clickbait. Mike Tyson's going to fight a shark. Why is Mike Tyson? I'm not going to click on that. I'm not. You won't make me. No blue. Michigan concedes there may not be a college football season. Jimmy Butler got Disney security called on him for dribbling. Okay. 2021 Rose Bowl parade canceled. Great. Everything is canceled. I wish the whole year had been canceled. Bubba Wallace gets wrecked out of All-Star qualifier race. Leaves parting gift for rival. Okay. You know, they normally would not have any headlines up here about Bubba Wallace, except that he's black. So he's been getting himself all kinds of publicity over his color. And that's not racist. The lead. Dak and Dallas deferred. I'm so tired of reading about this. By Jay Busby. Good morning, friends. Today it's either talk football or scream into the void. What's that? Football, you say? Good call. This particular football talk makes me want to scream into the void. Outside of an interception, the worst thing a quarterback can do is freeze up in the pocket, hold the ball too long, and the defense swarms over your offensive line. You're on your heels, and your only options are desperate ones. In dealing with Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboys held the ball too long, and now the franchise might end up paying a high price. A Wednesday deadline came and went without Dallas and Prescott agreeing on a long-term deal, meaning Prescott will play the 2020 season, don't say it, on a one-year franchise tag deal. Don't say what? That it's a one-year franchise tag deal? In broad strokes, as our Charles Robinson notes, Prescott's team wanted more money and guarantees while Dallas wanted more years of control. That proved too vast of a chasm to bridge by Wednesday, and now the two sides can't work out a long-term deal until 2021. And who knows where we'll all be by then, right? Several historical factors are working against a harmonious future marriage. First, only two other quarterbacks have played on a franchise tag deal, Drew Brees with then San Diego, and Kirk Cousins with Washington, twice. In both cases, the quarterbacks left for greener pastures and greener contracts. The tag was clever. The tag was only a stopgap before the inevitable. Okay. Closer to home in recent years, Dallas has made a point of locking up the players it wants to retain with long-term deals. Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, Lyle Collins, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zach Martin, and Jalen Smith, I like Jalen Smith, have all signed extensions of 5 years or more over the last 2 years. Does the fact that Dallas hasn't extended a similar offer to Prescott mean it values him less? Not necessarily. No, it could also mean that Dak is being way more difficult than those others. But the fact that those deals exist at all severely restricts Jerry Jones's flexibility in throwing bags of money at Prescott while still fielding a team with more than about 7 players. Yeah, well, by the end of this year, he might not want to throw bags of money at Prescott. Because one thing Prescott has not been able to do is get good results. Get us into the playoffs. Yes, we've been in the playoffs, but not for more than 1 or 2 games. I don't trust him anymore. I trusted him after his rookie season, but then his second season was shit. His third season was a little bit better. His fourth season, I'm pretty sure that was the last season. Yeah, supposedly it was his best stats ever, and yet we had a below average record, I believe, and didn't get into the playoffs at all. So I don't understand why everybody is blaming the Cowboys for this not happening. He needs to be the one to prove himself, and he hasn't done it yet. And if he doesn't prove himself this year, I see no reason why we should try to throw bags of money at him. Thing is, Jones had better find a way. Oh, why? Prescott is the best quarterback in his division. And depending on how you slice the stats, one of the 10 best in the league. The Cowboys won big, snagging him in the 4th round back in 2016. But they can't count on finding another gem ready to plug into the starting lineup, especially with a team that's built to win right freaking now. Not only that, but the Patrick Mahomes mega deal and a likely extension coming for Deshaun Watson will jack up the quarterback market even higher. Yeah, for Super Bowl caliber quarterbacks. He is not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. You know, I liked Dak. I used to like him, but now all this exaggeration over how good he is makes me have to badmouth him. He's not as good as those guys. God. Much to consider for all sides and much to watch later this year as Prescott tries to play his way into a long-term deal. Again, like I asked before, what exactly is your definition of a long-term deal? Because Prescott didn't want any more than 3 or 4 years, and by the end of this year, he'll probably just want 2 years. Judging by the negotiations, he wasn't considering anything longer than that. And Dallas tries to figure out how to make that deal work with likely much less revenue coming in. Going to be a season to remember in Big D no matter what happens. Wetzel. Politicians and virus will determine course of NFL season. That's so wrong. The virus should not be determining anything. It's not that big a deal, at least not anymore, if it ever was, which I don't believe that it was. It certainly did not warrant the mega, humongous, ginormous, unprecedented overreaction that it got. Rohrbach. Who can win the 2019-20 NBA championship? A breakdown. Can't it be anybody? Young. Mahomes will show how serious NFL is about activism. Yeah. Sending a message. Sure, Myles Garrett punctuates the signing of his new $125 million extension with the Browns by writing a bold message and ripping off his shirt, and everybody loves it. But when I did the same thing while signing my mortgage application, they called the cops. Not fair. Ah ha ha ha. Okay. It doesn't even show him taking his shirt off. Cleveland, keep betting on me. World, keep betting against us. Hey, I don't care if you take your shirt off, just keep the helmet on. Follow Yahoo Sports on social. And that's it. Thank you, and good night.